さあ始まりました。ボクシングのボクシングによるボクシングのためのボクシング。私 DJ ボクシング&ボクシングでございます。いよいよ残すところあとわずか。井岡一翔選手対田中恒成選手の世界タイトルマッチ。4階級制覇チャンピオン対3階級制覇チャンピオン。日本ボクシング史上最高の一戦。いやもうこれだけとてつもない試合が組まれたこと、もう感謝しかありませんね。これはもう見ないわけにはいかないというか、そもそも日本国民で見ない人いるんですかね。いや見るでしょ、これは。見なきゃですよ。知ってますよ。当然知ってます。ライジンがあることも。いやわかるんですよ。ライジンでも面白いマッチアップがたくさんあること。でもね、ちょっとレベルが違うというか、この試合は。まあこういうこと言うとライジンファンに叩かれちゃうのかもしれませんが、まあでももういいです。はっきり言ってレベルが違う。もう僕は言い切ります。そのくらいマジでヤバすぎるんですよ、この試合は。史上最高クラスの日本人トップボクサー同士が戦うこの試合。そしてどちらが勝つか真っ二つに意見が割れる試合でもあります。そしてこの試合、当然海外のハードコアボクシングファンの注目度はえげつないことになっています。まあその海外のファンに言いがちな軽量級の試合はとかって言ってる、でかいは正義みたいなことを言ってる人たちは置いといて、本当にボクシングというスポーツをフェアな目線でバイアスなしに楽しんでいるコアなファンの中では、2020年今年最高の試合と言っている人も多いです。それこそロマチェンコ・ロペス戦や最近あったカネロ・カラム・スミス戦と比べても、この試合の方が大きい試合と言っているファンが結構いるんですね。そんなやばい試合が日本の大晦日に行われるんですよ。いやこれはやばい、本当に。で今回はそういう海外のファンがどういう目線でこの試合を見ているのか、井岡選手そして田中選手どちらが勝つと思われているのか、僕が普段趣味で見ている海外のボクシング系 YouTube チャンネルでこの試合の勝敗予想をされている方たちを紹介しつつ、彼らがどちらが勝つと思っているのか、これを翻訳して紹介していこうかなと思います。こういった海外のファンの方たちの声を聞くことで、改めてこの試合ってマジですごい試合なんだなっていうことを知ってもらいたくて、それこそやはり僕のように言語が日本語ではないボクシングチャンネルを毎日のように漁るように見ている人ってなかなかいないとも思っているので、この機会に海外のファンの方たちの声も知ってもらいつつ、この試合の持つ大きな意味というのを再認識してもらえれば幸いです。普段僕の動画を音声だけで楽しんでくれている方たちには申し訳ないんですけど、よろしければ画面を見て翻訳を読みながら楽しんでいただければなと思います。ちなみに僕は翻訳のプロではないので、僕なりの翻訳にはなっていますが、おおむねの意味に大きな間違いはないと思うので、その点ご了承いただきつつ見ていただければなと。あとすごく大切なポイントですが、今回紹介する動画の全てを翻訳しているわけではありません。紹介していくのは動画の一部です。なので本来彼らが伝えたい部分を 100% 伝えられているわけではありませんし、実際のフルバージョンの動画を見ればもっと詳しくその技術的な解説をしている方もいます。ただ全てを翻訳していると本当膨大な時間がかかってしまうので、一部要点を抜粋した、サマリー的なものということをご理解した上で見ていただければ幸いです。それでは早速紹介していきましょう。まず一つ目に紹介したいチャンネルはテッドスプーンボクシング。この方はイギリスの方だと思いますが、海外のビッグファイトから今回の井岡選手対田中選手のような試合までかなり幅広く、そして高頻度に動画をアップしてくれている方です。それではそんな彼の意見を聞いてみましょう。
The fact this fight is only being contested for the WBO Super Flyweight title does not convey how prestigious this encounter is. Two Japanese fighters. One, a three-weight world champion. The other, the only ever, first ever four-weight world champion. It is a tremendous fight, loaded with national importance. Kazuta Ioka is just loaded with class. A brilliant, one of the top operators in world boxing today. Ioka is the older man at 31, but I believe still in his prime. He is a really smooth operator. He is the more experienced guy. And Kosai Tanaka, a little bit more rough round the edges, still a lot to prove, but possibly a bit of a bigger puncher. And while he doesn't have as many layers to him as Ioka does, he has a tremendous left uppercut. That seems to be his honey punch, and he comes in and he does have quite clever attacks. He'll switch his stance, almost a bit Tyson-esque, switch the stance and then come in at a different angle with certain shots, so he can be creative himself. He is happy to go to war here. The way I see this fight, Tanaka has to show us something we haven't seen before. He's looked ragged before in fights that have gone the distance when he's had to work. He's been dropped a few times. He would have to raise his game. He would have to show us, I think, a certain kind of polish and tenacity to beat Ioka at this stage in his career that we have not seen before yet.
ということで、彼は井岡選手の経験や試合巧者ぶりを高く評価していますね。そして田中選手のステップワークや多彩なアングルを使った戦い方、あるいは創造性、そしてパンチ力も評価されています。特に田中選手の左アッパーをすごく褒めていましたね。しかし井岡選手のような強敵相手では、田中選手は今までのような戦い方では厳しいという見解も話してくれています。そしてそんな彼の出した勝敗予想の答えは
I have to favor Ioka, who seems to have a little bit more to him with his boxing game. He can move, he's got enough power, very capable at all ranges, defensively better, which I think might be the big factor here. Tanaka is a little bit ragged at times. He's sometimes too willing to just lean on your forehead to forehead and get copped with shots that maybe he doesn't need to. He does have the younger legs at 25. He can be quite explosive with his movement, but again, he is going to have to bring a polished game plan. He is going to have to fight to a high degree that we haven't seen yet, I feel, to win this one on points. I don't want to be a skeptic, but I favour what I see from Ioka with his overall skill set, with that smooth operator kind of style he has. I favour him to get a unanimous decision.
井岡選手勝利の予想でしたね。彼は井岡選手の試合巧者ぶり、そして総合力を高く評価して井岡選手の勝利を予想されていました。彼の言っていることはすごくわかりますし、僕と意見が被っている部分もすごく多い気もします。ぜひ彼のチャンネルに直接行ってこの動画を見てみてください。概要欄にリンクを貼っておきますね。それでは続いて2つ目のチャンネル。この方は以前僕のチャンネルで出した田中恒成選手の凄さを紹介した動画内でも紹介した方です。チャンネル名は Tru School Sports。この人はアメリカ人の方ですが、ここまでのボクシングオタクはなかなか見ることができない。僕も本当にいろんな人のボクシング系チャンネル見てますけど、この人のボクシング愛はちょっとやばいですね。それこそ動画の更新頻度も半端ではありません。それではそんな彼の意見も聞いてみましょ
う。What I believe to be the most significant and important fight remaining in 2020. Now, I know a lot of people right now are gassed on Canelo versus Caleb Smith, and no doubt about it, that is an important fight. But it pales. Yes, I said it pales in comparison to what we have on December 31st in Japan. It's Japan versus Japan, you know, two Japanese boxing stars taking each other on in the super flyweight division. It's Kazuto Ioka versus my main man Kosai Tanaka for the WBO super flyweight championship. Now, so it's two of the most significant fighters in Japanese boxing aside from Inoue. Fighting in this fight, you have Kazuto Ioka, you know, the first four-division Japanese world champion, you know, in the history of boxing. On one side, 26-2, been in there, did it against some top opposition. Then you got Kosai Tanaka, you know, a guy who, in my opinion, already has a pound-for-pound top 10 claim in his career. You know, he's only 24 years old. He's already a three-division champion. He's the quickest fighter in the history of Japanese boxing to win a world title. He's never fought anybody with a losing record in his entire boxing career. It can't be stated enough how important this fight is for the legacy of both fighters. Both come from Japan. and for where they're going to go moving forward with their careers in the super flyweight division. Now, Tanaka, and for me personally, he's the favorite in this fight. I know a lot of people picking Kazuya Ioka, but I think Tanaka, while Ioka's had a fantastic career and made some history, and he's a special fighter in his own right, I think Kosai Tanaka is, he's on that tier with like the Inouye's of the world. Like he's on that kind of tier. I think he's that damn talented. This is the biggest fight of the year. You're gonna get the speed, the combinations, the defensive prowess, just the complete overall boxing skill set of Kosai Tanaka. And whatever time they fight, whether it's at 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, 8 at night here in America, we're going to be going live for this fight because this is a fight that deserves attention. I got Kosai Tanaka. I think he's special. I think I haven't come out with my pound for pound top 10 list, but he's going to be pretty high on it, higher than most. Most people don't even have Tanaka on the pound for pound list, but he'll be somewhere on my pound for pound list, and we'll see.
いや、この人はもう田中選手への愛が溢れ出てますね。井岡選手のことも日本ボクシング界の歴史を作ってきた選手として高く評価されていますが、もう田中選手は別次元にいる、それこそ井上選手クラスのステージにいる選手として語ってくれています。そんな彼の勝敗予想は田中選手の勝利ということでしたね。彼のチャンネルでこの試合の解説をライブ放送するとおっしゃっているので、もし彼の解説を聞きながら試合が見たいという方がいれば、ぜひ見てみてください。彼のチャンネルの動画のリンクも概要欄に貼っておきます。続いて3つ目。この方はイギリスの方ですね。チャンネル名はブルーカラースポーツ TV。この方も本当にボクシング詳しくてびっくりしますよ。今紹介したトゥルースクールスポーツと同じく動画の更新頻度もすごいですし、ボクシング解説力もとても高く、すごく説得力のある話が聞けます。それではそんな彼の勝敗予想も聞いていきましょう。
And as far as I'm concerned, this is one of the better fights of the year, and certainly it has pound for pound level implications. So I would certainly implore everybody to watch this fight. I believe there's going to be exchanges, both guys are going to have their moments, and both guys will find holes in their opponent's game. But for me, I do actually make Kazuto Ioka the favourite in this fight. To me, he needs to apply his usual pressure game. Kazuto Ioka is a good boxer in general, but to me his standout trait is his pressure game. He's got quick feet coming forwards, cuts the ring off well, he'll back you up with his jab, work the body, and he can punch while moving forwards as well, which obviously is always great for a pressure fighter. And also actually, Kazuto Ioka is actually pretty good at counterpunching on the front foot, which is a very difficult skill. And yeah, to me, Ioka needs to implement his usual pressure style. Kosai Tanaka is the guy coming up in weight. Ioka is more used to the super flyweight weight class. He's fought some big super flyweights in the past, and he's shown good strength in those fights. So for me, Ioka, he needs to put it on Kosai Tanaka early on in this fight. Make him realise this is the new weight class. He needs to make Tanaka realise that, this is a different level to what he's been fighting at. And I do believe Ioka is certainly the best guy Tanaka's ever fought in his career. But for me, the key for Tanaka ultimately is not to set his feet, it's to keep on the move, try and keep Ioka turning, get in and out, utilise that jab, stay active with it. And yeah, he needs to be the more mobile fighter of the two, in my opinion, in this bout. But, I think Tanaka, he's a warrior, that's that Japanese samurai spirit. Both of those guys have it. And I think when these guys share the ring with each other, that's what's going to come out. I think boxing may go out the window in certain rounds. Both guys are going to engage each other. And ultimately, we're going to get some real topsy-turvy rounds and aggressive rounds and just fireworks in a lot of these rounds. So, despite what I've said, I fully expect this fight to turn into a bit of a war. And in a war, I would favour Kazuto Ioka. Quite frankly, I have been flirting with a late stoppage or a close points decision. I think I'm going to settle on points. Kazuto Ioka, a close points win over Tanaka. I just don't believe Tanaka's going to be disciplined enough to kind of fight to his game plan, I think he's going to get drawn into a war. The thing with Tanaka at times shows a real nice quick jab, some great head movement, he can slip punches, he actually has good defense when he chooses to use it. But the problem is with Tanaka, he's that sort of guy. Once you tag him, he's going to come back at you and his defense goes out of a window. We saw that in the Taguchi fight, for example, where at times he was showing great head movement, but then Taguchi would catch him, and Tanaka just really wanted to fight fire with fire. And to me, fighting fire with Ioka is a dangerous game. I see Ioka as a more layered fighter in exchanges, in the pocket. I think he's a great trap setter, he's a great counter puncher, great timing, great accuracy, and yeah, in those exchanges, in a war, I just favour Kazuta Ioka personally. But like I said, it's a can't miss fight, it's a great fight, it's going to be a war.
この方は井岡選手有利という予想でしたね。井岡選手をプレッシャーファイターとして高く評価されていました。前足重心で打つカウンターに触れているあたり、この人よく見てるなってなりますよね。あとはスーパーフライ級によりアジャストしていることも井岡選手有利と見る理由の一つでしたね。田中選手の能力も冷静に評価されていましたが、時折この田中選手の熱くなって余計な打ち合いに応じてしまう点がこの試合での勝敗を分けるんではないかという話でしたね。日本人ファイター同士の試合特有の侍魂あふれた戦争のような試合になるとお話しされていましたが、そういう展開になったら井岡選手が有利ということでした。これは僕が過去に上げた勝敗予想動画に通ずる部分でもありましたよね。いやもう他のチャンネルの勝敗予想を紹介してて、もう僕も待ちきれなくなってきたというか、いや本当に早く試合が見たいですね。ということで次に紹介するのが最後の動画になります。最後に紹介したいのはINTANGIBLE ボクシングニュース。いやこの人の解説もすごいですよ。本当に深いですし、もう細かい。今回紹介する動画で一番長い動画だと思うんですけど、全部を紹介しきるのはちょっと時間がかかりすぎてしまうので、だいぶ省略してしまっていますが、気になる方はぜひ彼のチャンネルでフルバージョンを見てください。それではそんな彼の勝敗予想も聞いていきましょう。
This is a fight that I consider to be probably easily the best fight on the schedule. A fight that's probably going to be the best fight made this year, even over Lopez versus Loma. Not necessarily based on totally merits. Of course, there is more, pretty much the merits of my opinion. Of course, there is more on the line in that fight, but I like Tanaka a lot. I like both guys a lot. I also think the styles blend better than Loma and Teofimo, because both guys have a style, a counterpunching, exceptional counterpunching, punch selection, speed, and overall ability, where they're going to be constantly attacking each other, capitalizing on each other's mistakes, and they're going to have an instant violent response to whatever they bring to each other. Tanaka has an outstanding resume and list of accomplishments, one of the better ones in the sport, and if he defeats Ioka, that sends him to new heights. That puts his resume, in my opinion, above Lomachenko and Crawford's. To get into them stylistically, Tanaka, I'll get into him first. Excellent counterpuncher, excellent mover, very good footwork, in and out movement, throws punches in combinations, is an exceptional body puncher, sets up his punches very well, it has a much improved jab, is a much improved fighter, improved defense. Tanaka used to rely so much on beating you pretty much exclusively on hand speed, but he's much better now. You sort of notice in Tanaka's fights, in the midst of his combinations, his defense is a bit leaky when he's setting his feet and waiting for you to sort of initiate. But in the midst of his combinations, he does actually utilize some nice maneuvers, which make him a little bit better defensively, where he'll drift off to the left to set up the left hook after the 1-2. He'll lean under, step underneath to set up the left uppercut. Has a beautiful left uppercut. That's probably the best shot in his entire arsenal. He's got a beautiful 1-2, has incredible punch variety. His punch variety is never super consistent. his jab has gotten much better. The problem with Tanaka, though, is he's fairly easy to hit outside of his... because Tanaka likes to sit in the pocket and wait for you to initiate so he can counter. He's a natural counter puncher. So he's easy to hit under those circumstances. He's open to the liver. He's also dragged into dogfights a bit too easily, when he could make fights even more easy for himself, especially like say the Ryoshi Taguchi fight. He could have made that fight easier for himself had he moved off the back foot. Same with the Sho Kimura fight. Had he just stuck with his footwork, used his jab, utilized his counterpunching. But Tanaka has great heart, though, great conditioning, great motor. A lot of things to like about him, some flaws, but still an excellently skilled fighter. One of the most offensively brilliant fighters in boxing. Kazuto Ioka is more of a calculated pressure fighter who does know how to box off the back foot. Has an excellent excellent left hand in totality. He's got good power in his right hand, but he genuinely does have not quite super concussive, but genuine power in the left hook. He's got a genuinely serious left hook. A very good timing with the shot, very excellent speed with it, which is why he doubles it up so effectively. He's got better defense, I'd say, than Tanaka. Does actually defend himself a bit better outside of the exchanges and in the pocket. Now, in the exchanges, however, he does tend to walk straight in. His head movement, he'll show head movement, but not necessarily on a consistent basis. His attacks can be picked off. And Ioka is a little bit susceptible to the counter. But also, one thing I feel Ioka possesses that's going to really trouble Tanaka in this fight is excellent footwork. Watch Kazuto Ioka on his entrances. Watch how he's constantly varying the speed of his footwork and the timing of it. Watch how he sort of uses very subtle circular and in and out movement, constantly stepping in and out. He's got pretty fast feet, but the technique with his footwork and the constant variance and the unpredictability of his attacks is really going to trouble Tanaka in this fight. Tanaka also has excellent timing, speed, in and out movement, the superior foot speed and hand speed. He's the more naturally talented fighter than Kazuto, which is going to be also serious troubles for Kazuto Ioka himself. Both guys have strengths and weaknesses that either man can capitalize on. Or should I just say weaknesses? Both guys have glaring weaknesses both guys can capitalize on and will capitalize on through this fight. Both guys are going to be dealing serious damage to one another, hurting each other to the body, hurting each other with shots upstairs, catching each other with uppercuts, body shots. It's going to be a non-stop war. This is a tough matchup. I do think, however, that based on the natural talent of Tanaka, the in and out movement of Tanaka, the combinations, and Tanaka's ability to fight in the pocket, his ability to capitalize and get through hooks, and the fact that Ioka just overextend on his left hook and leave himself open to the lead hand uppercut especially, and straight shots with the lead hand down the middle. I think that his ability to capitalize, I think that Tanaka's ability to capitalize on them might very well win him the fight. I think that he has the advantage in hand speed too, which is going to help him very much in winning exchanges. Because of the fact that I think they're going to be throwing a lot of shots and the activity is going to be very high throughout the fight, I believe that Tanaka is going to win this fight. Very close. It's going to be a very close fight, but I'm thinking Tanaka wins on points, and that's how I see it. That's my official prediction.
もう彼はロマチェンコ・ロペス戦を超える今年最大の試合と言ってくれていますね。そしてそんな彼の勝敗予想は田中選手の判定勝利。ディフェンス技術では井岡選手が上だけど、田中選手のハンドスピードとカウンターテクニックがこの試合で打ち合いになった時の鍵を握るということでした。 あとは井岡選手の細やかなフットワークテクニックが田中選手を苦しめることになると思うとも語っていましたね。そしてこの試合は戦争のような試合になるとも予想されていました。いやこれはね、もう今回紹介した動画を見ればわかると思いますけど、この2人のボクサーを知っている方であれば、この試合が最高にエキサイティングで見どころ満載な試合になると思わない方が無理ありますよね。今回は僕の話を聞くような動画ではありませんでしたが、でもどうしてもね、この試合が世界中が待ち望んでいる試合ということを皆様ともシェアしたかったんです。何かの形でこういった海外のファンの意見というのが選手ご本人たちにも伝わって、それによって2人のモチベーションがより高まることになれば、もうこれ以上ない幸せですしね。で、おそらくこの動画を上げるのは試合の前日か2日前くらいになると思いますが、もうカウントダウンは始まっていますよ。コロナウイルスによって苦しまされた今年1年。しかしそんな状況が逆に僕がこのチャンネルを始めるきっかけになってくれました。これだけ多くの方に応援していただけるチャンネルになるなんて、微塵も思うことなく始めたチャンネルでしたが、今や1万人以上の方とボクシングコミュニティを作れていること、もうこれは僕にはもったいないくらいの幸せですし、そんなチャンネルを作ることができた今年の締めくくりに、ボクシングファンにとって最高のご褒美をいただけること、改めて両選手への感謝の気持ちを忘れずに背筋を正してこの試合を観戦させていただこうと思います。それでは今回の放送はこの辺りで終わりにしていこうと思います。この井岡選手と田中選手の試合の観戦後の感想動画がおそらく年明け一発目の動画になると思いますが、今回のこの放送が2020年今年最後の動画になるかと思います。改めて今年は本当に大変お世話になりました。いつも応援していただき、そして動画をご視聴いただき、コメントを残していただき、心から感謝しております。今回の動画も最後までお付き合いいただき、本当にありがとうございました。それではまた年明け、次回の放送でお会いしましょう。良いお年を。